Watch the ride.
Hey everybody, hope you're all doing right out there. So, I have a bit of free time because I'm currently reviewing a Honda Hornet and I'm now going back to the place I borrowed it from, and this traffic is just annoying to film in. But there is a thing I want to talk about. So I've talked a lot about different things to do with licenses and CBTs and blah 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 recently, and there is one comment that keeps coming up quite regularly and I wish to talk to it. I've already replied to one of the people that said this recently, and yes, that's the one that sparked me this off because I really thought about it. Basically, some people believe that once you've done a CBT once, that's it. You should never be allowed to do another one again. You have to go and do the A1. Now, this highlights their inexperience of not knowing that if your CBT ran out, you wouldn't be able to go and do an A1 because you need a CBT to do the A1. It's what allows you to ride on the road, to my understanding. So that's one side of it. And the other side is completely elitist to suggest that the CBT should only be there for one time. I mean, I ended up doing 4 CBTs and was on 125s for 7 years. I tried saving my money up multiple times to get out and get onto a bigger bike. I just couldn't afford to do it. And when someone says something like, you know, they should make it last once and then they should just go and get their license because, you know, you should be progressing your skills, I just feel like you've never struggled for money. Sorry if you have and you're not understanding that point of view, but it's odd to me because the CBT allows the poorest to be on the road. It is the cheapest form of transport. I mean, it's cheaper than using buses regularly. I mean, alright, fine, you can use push bikes and your legs and that sort of stuff, but if you've got a distance to go, then a 125 bike is the most economical, cheapest way to do that. You know, I don't see a single benefit in making the CBT only last one time. It just doesn't make, as I say, it doesn't make sense, and it just seems a bit sort of, I don't know how to put this, nasty, a bit sort of non-caring to people who rely on it. Now, I agree with their sentiment, which is that drivers should be progressing their skills, and that would make riders and drivers better if they're having to do this, if they're being pushed to, you know, go and take their full license. But there's something else here that you have to remember, which I pointed out to them. Let's take 2 people, Jim and Tim. Tim's on a CBT, Jim's on a full license. Tim does a CBT, rides for 2 years, then he has to do another CBT, rides for 2 years, has to do another CBT, has to ride for 2 years, so he ends up doing, what, 5 for 10 years? Every 2 years, he's having to prove he has still got the ability to pass the CBT. Hang on, now, was it Tim or Jim? I've got confused with the names here. The one with a full licence could not ride once in those 10 years. And then on the 10th year and 1th day, yes, 1th, they jump on a bike. By your perspective, you think that the full licensed rider is a better, more qualified rider at that point than the person on the CBT, even though the person on the CBT has been riding year after year after year and the people on the full license haven't. Also, people on CBTs, again, they have to keep going and taking, oh, let's go this way, they have to go and keep taking the CBT and passing it. Once you pass your full test, that's it, you don't have to do any more. And trust me, just because someone's passed a full license does not mean they're a good rider at all. But I think, honestly, the learning starts once you've got your license to get out there and learn. You can do so much on a CBT, yes. But, you know, it's a different world when you're on a bigger bike, so you're kind of having to relearn everything all over again. Which is kind of the point of the CBT, to allow you to learn some of that stuff on something a bit slower and give you the opportunity to make mistakes before you get onto the bigger bike. See how the CBT is a really cool thing that's actually really good? And suggesting that we should get rid of it after one is horrendous for people. And this is why I say, if they make the CBT a little bit harder, don't be ultra critical of it and get all moaning about it, because all the government will end up doing is going, well fine, no CBT for you, you'll have to do minimum training like you do with a car, and you're going to end up paying so much more money to get your licence that you're never going to do it. So yeah, just a short one, but for all the people that keep saying the CBT should only last once, or they should get away with it, or do away with it entirely, no, just no, and you know, your wealth might be showing there, or your upbringing might be showing there, because if you've never considered the fact that people couldn't afford to do that, well then lucky you. You know, it's a good example of how people say, like, how did you learn to fix all the things you know how to fix, Spicy? Because we didn't have a lot of money when I was growing up, still don't, and if I want something to work still, I have to fix it myself. Pretty simple. Anyway, that's just my view on that side of it. So if you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new here, and if you want to help support the channel, please consider doing that through Patreon. I'll catch you in the next one. And don't forget, you can watch a review on this bike soon.